How often do you break laws? Hopefully not too often, but you may actually be breaking more laws than you think. I'm not talking about just missing a speed limit sign. I'm talking about mathematical laws that help us take the most optimal route toward a correct answer. In this video, we're going to take a look specifically at the law of cosines and how it simplifies finding angles. Let's start by taking a look at the Pythagorean Theorem. It's that easy to remember formula for finding the longest side of a right triangle when we know the lengths of the other two sides. Since we know that the Pythagorean Theorem only works when there is a 90-degree angle, what happens when you're working with a triangle that isn't a right triangle? That's where the law of cosines comes in. It allows us to find the third length of any triangle. Here's the formula. The length of side c squared is equal to the length of side a squared plus the length of side b squared minus 2 times the length of side a times the length of side b times the cosine of angle c. As you can see from the end of the formula, we need one more piece of information than the Pythagorean theorem requires. We need to know the measure of an angle. To be specific, we need the measure of the angle between the two sides we know, sides a and b. Here's triangle ABC with the sides labeled lowercase a, b, and c. It's important to know that when naming a triangle, we use capital letters. And to indicate sides, lowercase letters are used that match the opposite angle label. For example, side A is opposite angle A. So in order to use the law of cosines to find side C, we would need to know side B, side A, and angle C, which is opposite side C. Let's try it out. First, we need to check to see if we have everything we need to use the law of cosines. We have the measure of two sides, A and B, they're both 10 centimeters, and the angle between those two sides is angle C, which measures 45 degrees. That's all we need to know. So let's plug sides A and B and angle C into the formula. C squared equals 10 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 10 times 10 times the cosine of 45 degrees. Be careful with the order of operations here. Evaluate the exponents first, then take the cosine of 45, like this. Since 10 squared is equal to 100, substitute 100 for 10 squared in both places. Then multiply 2 times 10 times 10, which is equal to 200. Then find the cosine of 45 degrees. Find the difference between 200 and 141 and 42 hundredths. When we get to the point where we have c squared equal to a number, we take the square root of each side to find that c is approximately 7 and 65 hundredths centimeters. A common sense check of that answer tells us that it's reasonable, since sides A and B both measure 10 centimeters, and their opposite angles are larger than angle C, so our answer should be under 10, which it is. That's all there is to using the law of cosines to find the missing side of a triangle. In fact, it's a bit more versatile than the Pythagorean theorem because we can label any of the sides lowercase a, b, and c as long as we label the angle opposite to that side capital A, B, and C. Let's look at another problem. We haven't named any of the sides or angles yet, but we can see that we have been given the measure of two of the sides and the angle between them. So we should label the angle C and the sides A and B, like this. Now we can go ahead and substitute the values into the law of cosines formula that we used previously. C squared equals 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12 times the cosine of 120 degrees. Since 8 squared is equal to 64, substitute that value in. Since 12 squared is equal to 144, substitute that value in as well. Then we know that 2 times 8 times 12 is equal to 192. Finally, the cosine of 120 degrees is equal to negative 0 and 5/10. Add 64 and 144 together to compose a sum of 208. Then multiply negative 192 times negative 0 and 5/10 to get a product of 96. Then add 208 and 96 to get a sum of 304. Take the square root of 304. The length of side C is approximately 17 and 44 centimeters. Let's try our common sense check again. Side C is opposite the largest angle, so it should be larger than the other sides. And it is. It's also less than the sum of the other two sides, which it must be in order for this shape to be a triangle. Okay, that's all for this review. Don't break the law of cosines, or else the math police will come after you. Thanks for watching, and happy studying.